Welcome back to today's session in Code Snippets. We're going to be looking at two concepts today. One is basic algorithms and the other is sequence. Things you'll need will be Python 3 and above. You can download this from the python.org, and also if you're looking for a good IDE, I would recommend using PyCharm from JetBrains. This will make your coding a lot easier. Also, this will give you the same environment that I'm coding in. Now, this lesson is designed for beginners, so it is an introduction to concepts, but I do recommend to other programmers to listen to the developer principles and the terminology that I use. Computers process information in a sequential order, therefore one step after another. So we need to use tools to help us get our thought patterns into a structure that a computer can follow. Now remember, computers will only do what you tell them and do it in the order at which you tell them to do it in. So we can use a tool such as a flowchart to show us how we can brush our teeth. A flowchart uses a visual representation where we use circles for start and end indicators, and also square boxes or rectangles for processing. As we work through this flowchart for brushing our teeth, you can see where we start, put toothpaste on toothbrush, use toothbrush to clean teeth, and then rinse toothbrush, end. So you can see it's a logical sequential step that achieves the outcome that was required. This is what a computer will need to be able to carry out the operation. If we don't have the correct sequential flow and our algorithm is not logical, we could end up with something like this, where the flowchart shows a start, rinse toothbrush, use toothbrush to clean teeth, and then put toothpaste on toothbrush, end. This would not give us the desired outcome of clean teeth. However, if we sequence the steps in the correct order, we will achieve the required outcome. So algorithm tools like a flowchart allow us to visually represent sequential flow that a computer will need to process our instructions. Therefore, an algorithm can then be translated into syntax for the computer to follow. Now, the good thing about algorithms are they can be converted into any syntax. So it could be converted into Python, Java, JavaScript, could be changed into C# and Xcode. You can see in the indication here we have a start and end symbol, a parallelogram to indicate input and output, a rectangle to show processing, and from the start to the stop should be a logical sequential process to achieve the desired outcome. So in this example of working out how old your dog is, we start the program, we then get input from the user and ask them how old is your dog in human years. If the user enters in 2, dog years is equal to dog human years, 2 times 7. So if we take 2 times 7, which is 14, we would store that in dog years. And then with the same symbol as input, the output is also an action. In dog years, your dog is the number of dog years, which is in this case 14 years old. And then the program can stop. So you can see this visual representation of sequence that is logical and easy for us to turn into syntax for a computer to follow. What I'd like you to do in Python is have a go at creating an algorithm using print statements on how to prepare and cook 2-minute noodles from boiling the water through to the time at which you can eat it. So just pause this presentation, have a go in Python, and then when you're ready, then start the code snippet again and have a look at how you went. So I'm going to go into my Python folder. I'm going to start a new project and call it Cooking Noodles. So this is my new Python file called Cooking Noodles. First thing I'm going to do is put in a developer comment and put my name in. Now from here, I'm going to use a series of print statements to cook my noodles. So first of all, I'm going to start with a print. And I'm going to give a title. So I'm going to use a little bit of character art and go cooking 2-minute noodles. Now to run my program, I'm just going to right mouse click and make sure that the interpreter is actually running the correct file, which is cooking noodles. And you can see in my output, I've got cooking 2-minute noodles. Excellent. So I'm now going to go to a new line of code and I'm going to give it its first instruction, which is going to be print. And then the very first thing we want to be able to do is boil water. So I'm going to boil water in the kettle. Now I'm going to check my program to see how it's looking at the moment. So I'm going to run my program. At the moment it's very hard up. See how there's no line gap? So let's put a line gap in there. So if I use a \n, it gives me what's called a soft return or a return carriage. If it was in HTML, it would be the same as a break tag. So this just puts a nice little return carriage between these two lines. Another thing I'm doing is I'm creating a list because I want to be doing it in order. So therefore I want to use an ordered list. So I'm then going to put it in 1. I'm just going to check my output now. You can see I've got cooking 2-minute noodles and 1 boil water in kettle. Excellent. So now I can give it the next step. If I was cooking 2-minute noodles, what would I do next? Print. I think I would actually open the 2-minute noodle cup. So here's my second instruction. Open. So I'd like to open the 2-minute noodle container lid so it's ready once the water's boiled. Now while the kettle would be boiling, I also would open the flavor. And I would add the contents of the noodle flavor. Now let's have a look at how our program's going. So I'm going to right mouse click and I'm going to run. You can see down the bottom here I've actually got cooking with 2-minute noodles, open 2-minute noodle container lid, add the contents of the noodle flavor. Now the next step would be to add the water if I was physically doing this. So when I'm programming, I'm thinking step by step how the information has to be done. We can use an algorithm for this and use a flowchart or pseudocode. And if you'd like more information on those, I do have some tutorials on my YouTube channel that you can have a look at. So always go back, read through your code, make sure that it's sequential, logical, because this is what the computer is going to follow. So we need to now, once the water is boiled, add the hot water to the noodle container. So let's do that. And the last step would be when 2 minutes is up, ... we can then eat. So let's have a look at our program working now. Right mouse click, run cooking noodles. You can see that we've got the desired output. But there's one little logical problem that I've got with my program. And that is, you need to cover the container with its lid. So sometimes you need to logically work through this. And once again, ensure that all the steps are sequential and give you the desired outcome. So in this case here, I need to cover container with lid for the 2 minutes. Now when I run my program, you can see I have a sequential list. I just needed one more correction, change that one to a 6 now. And I should have an algorithm on how to cook 2-minute noodles. If I want to have more of a gap at the bottom when it's finished processing, I can always add some break tags. I can go print, bracket, quote, \n. And if I want 5 of them, I can actually go times 5, which is shift 8, the star, and 5. That means give me 5 lots of the \n. If I run this now, you can see there's a big gap there. It does push it off the screen, so I could either lift this up a little bit, and therefore I've got a nice little visual of the work that I've done. Okay, I hope you've been very successful in creating your algorithm and printing out the instructions on how to cook 2-minute noodles. In today's code snippet, we've looked at basic algorithms and also sequence. And we used the tool of a flowchart to create our algorithm. And then we went on to print out the instructions on how to prepare and cook 2-minute noodles in Python. I hope you found this tutorial useful. If you need further instructions, by all means have a look around my YouTube channels for further information on programming in Python. And also remember, if you are searching on the internet, to make sure you're using Python 3 code. If you found this tutorial useful, give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you for the next edition of Code Snippets.